something really scary is happening, and I don't know exactly what's causing it to escalate so much within the GOP, but we saw this coming from a mile away. Right now, I think it's extra exacerbated by Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s presence in the Trump administration incoming. But what the heck am I talking about? Well, we've seen, and the latest example is this video of Marjorie Taylor Greene, an anti-science, anti-vaccine explosion as Trump's administration prepares to be formed. And what this could do to our country is hard to be overstated. So watch this clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Remember that when America said, let's vote for this MAGA party, they said, give more power to Marjorie, knowingly or unknowingly, probably mostly unknowingly. And with that, she chooses to espouse stuff like this. While you're watching, please do click the subscribe button.
I certainly hope they change, because there's many parents that are demanding for this to be changed. Let me tell you how hard it is to be a parent of a child where you don't want your child to get the vaccines. Autism rates are off the charts. It has risen and risen and risen and risen. It's the most heartbreaking thing. Any parent or family member that has watched a child just shut down, close up, and disappear as they fade into autism has been just horrifying. I don't have words to describe what that must feel like. But
that, by the way, before going further, a very strange description of autism, I have to say.
Many parents don't want their children vaccinated at the crazy rate that our government and school systems and all types of organizations require these vaccinations to happen. And they have to go all over the place looking for pediatricians that will treat their child and be their child's doctor while they refuse vaccines. And that should never happen. I have high hopes for RFK and that he can get that changed. And it needs to change for all of these parents who are trying to protect their child from what is perceived to be an incredible danger to their health and their lifetime health.
And this is her just echoing Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has espoused one anti-vax, anti-fact. They're not basing this in reality with such a sensitive subject that could lead to the life or death of a child. You best be sure you're working with strong data. In their case, they're working explicitly against the data we have on this. And I'll show you another clip on this, or another Marjorie Taylor Greene clip in just a little bit. We'll talk about the way that the facts contradict what MAGA is leaning into. But Senator Markwayne Mullin had a very similar argument. Now that RFK Jr. is in the administration, now that Trump has won, they're going mask off with these really frightening views that, again, we'll talk about how this can lead to mass devastation.
Scrutinize all of those picks robustly. But Senator, let me just go back to this, because you've been on the record saying that you do believe vaccines are safe and effective. You're not concerned about RFK Jr. overseeing the largest health agency in the land?
I have said that there's some positives to vaccinations. I've also questioned vaccines multiple times, and I think they should be questionized. For instance, why is America...
I love that. Questionized. I've reviewed this clip before. I love when people make up new words and then don't correct them.
Vaccines multiple times, and I think they should be questionized. For instance, why is America...
I think you should be questionized, Mark Wayne.
America highest in autism. But what is causing that? Is it our diet, or is it some of the stuff we're putting in our children's system? It used to be almost not even heard of. Then it went from 1 to 10,000, then to 1 to 5,000, 1 to 2,000. In some races right now, 1 out of every 36 kids by the age of 3 have developed some form of autism. What is causing that? And if it is the vaccines, there's nothing wrong with actually taking a hard look and finding that's what's causing it. Okay. Is it something else that we're putting in our systems?
I am really, really questionizing why Mark Wayne, the two name in one brother, why Marjorie, why RFK, choose to scroll through one anti-vax Twitter thread one time and then take their new knowledge to national television. It's so irresponsible because they're acting as if this is not something that we've been studying for decades. Is there a connection, kidshealth.org explores, between vaccines and autism? There's no connection between vaccine and autism spectrum disorder. And it goes through this along with a bunch of other summarizations of research. Answer this question for them. And the vast research out there that could take some time to look into before spewing this stuff as to what is the reason for increasing autism rates might be a fascinating read for them. We don't have all the answers, but one answer we really sure do seem to have based on the facts is that what they're trying to draw, the correlation they want people to fixate on, is just not a safe one to lie about or mislead people about. Because even the example we've gone back to, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., this big anti-vax influencer at the time, goes to Samoa, bolsters and supports the anti-vax leaders there, as there's this, because of a false narrative about a death in Samoa, there's this uproar of anti-vax sentiment that was not based on what actually happened, but a fake story about what happened with the tragic death of an individual. He then bolsters that, leaves, and you have 80 plus Samoans dying preventable deaths from measles because they weren't vaccinated, because of this anti-vaccine, specifically with the measles vaccine sentiment. Real consequences we're talking about. CDC warns that a spike in measles cases poses threat to U.S. elimination status. A rapid rise in measles cases in the first months of 2024 threatens the United States' elimination status, a situation the nation hasn't faced since 2019 when prolonged outbreaks posed a similar problem. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said today, a part of this exacerbated by dropping vaccination rates for measles. Whooping cough spikes, especially among unvaccinated teens, NBC News reports. They were allowing for the explosion of diseases because of their misunderstanding about the science. And it's really, really tragic. I don't know why it's so sexy in certain parts of social media to have this sort of anti-vaccine bias when vaccines have, and I don't have the chart here, maybe we'll throw up on screen if we can remember while editing, but vaccines have contributed to us just nearly eliminating so many diseases that were previously destroying the lives of so many people. And they could come back, as we're seeing in some cases, in more severity because of anti-vax sentiment and because Marjorie, RFK Jr., Mark Wayne, Questionizer Mullen are the experts now, are the ones that Trump's giving the power to make important calls. The guy, RFK Jr., who has this history, is the guy who's going to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Marjorie's saying, please go do the anti-vax stuff. And this exact sentiment is what contributed to, at one point during the pandemic, post the vaccine coming out for the COVID-19 pandemic, the rate of Republican deaths to Democratic deaths being 2x that of Democratic deaths. So many Republicans weren't being vaccinated and then ended up dying preventable death tragically. And there's no introspection from the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Moving on from that topic, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about her meeting with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy for the Department of Government Efficiency, the committee, or the subcommittee that she's going to be the chair of. That will work in tandem with this Department of Government Efficiency is going to be her big role. So that's why she's meeting with them. Why? Why are we giving this person power?
I thought the meeting went fantastic. It was exactly what we were looking for, a question and answer session with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. They were gracious with their time. Many of the members, pretty much almost all of them, lined up at 3 mics and went through the process of expressing their concerns, their frustrations, also talking about bills that they have sponsored and their ideas of how we can truly tackle this massive deficit, cut spending, and lower inflation.
What was the number one concern expressed in there overall?
The biggest concern is our debt. And as a country, it doesn't matter where you fall on the political divide, this debt is going to crush every single one of us. And to quote Elon, he said something extremely important. Every single payment that the federal government pays out, we need to be checking those payments to see if they're legitimate. And that's something that hasn't been done. I don't know if it's ever been done. There's a massive amount of waste, fraud, and abuse that we have to tackle, and I will be doing that with my subcommittee.
Okay. So if you trust Marjorie to be the one making these important calls, then maybe you feel good about this. I agree. We need to get our debt under control. Maybe electing the guy who added more to the debt than any U.S. president in American history wasn't the best call to do that. And I don't know if I trust Marjorie to be making the calls that could get it under control. But maybe you disagree. You can let me know in the comments. Please do click the subscribe button and the join button if you want to go a step further to get the members only bonus show.